Hi, my name is Noel Davis with World Composting, and today we're going to do an update on our African Nightcrawler bin and tote. So we have these Busboy bins, and then I have a 10-gallon tote. They both have African Nightcrawlers in them. The Busboy bin has been doing a lot better, I feel, than the tote has, but we're going to see if we can bring that tote back and also keep this one going and try to get this population to mature and grow a little bit. So with that, we're going to take a look at these systems, see how they're doing. It's been a long time since my last update, a lot longer than I expected. It's been 23 days. I don't know how I've been lost it in the shuffle, I think, with vacation and everything. But we're going to try to get it back in there, get it back into a weekly rotation, and we're going to continue to do updates on this. Now remember, if you're looking for any of these items, I do have links down below. If you check my description, and you can see in there that I do have links to some of these items off of Amazon. If you're looking to purchase and get into composting, which I encourage people to do. I really want to get people excited about composting and using your food waste to create a product you can use in your yard or garden. So with that, let's take a look at the Busboy bin first, and then we'll move on to the 10-gallon tote. Alright, so this is our Busboy tote. We have our last feeding date on 5/23, so over a month ago. We did an update on 6/6, and today is the 29th, or 6/29. So we're going to push this down a little bit here, so you can still see it, but let's take off our cover. If I can grab it. There we go. Let's just take a look in here. See how we see this. See if there's anything on this cover that we see. I'm not seeing any worms. I see some little tiny bugs, and we've got a packet of mites right over here in this corner. I don't know if you can see that or not, right there. Not sure what they're chowing down on, but they are chowing down on something, it looks like. But other than that, I'm not seeing anything else. Actually, some more mites over here as well on this side. So there's some mites on here, but nothing really major. So we're going to go ahead and put that off to the side and start digging in this. Now, as you can tell, the edges are pretty dry over here and on this side as well. And that's just because of the fact that, well, you know, we don't have the cover on that side. We really have it sort of in the center section. You can see a little spider here, so we do have something that they're trying to catch in here. I'm just going to go ahead and kill that guy. I don't need to keep spiders all over the place. And with that, we'll dig up over here first. I am seeing a lot of castings on top, which is a great sign, I feel. I feel that that's a good sign. I don't feel it's been that way in the past. But let's just see here. First off, we still have some coffee grounds, or at least a filter left over here. We do... Oh, hold on. I saw a worm. Thought I did. Maybe... Oh, hold on. There's a worm right here. Looks a little bit lethargic, but still moving, so that should be okay. Springtails, that was the other insect I was thinking of, by the way, that I saw. I forgot to mention that. Oh, here we go. We've got some more worms in the bottom here. These look a lot healthier, a lot bigger. Meteor worms right there. We still have got a banana peel. But that's what I expected to see right here. Some nice big worms in here. They do look like they might need some moisture. They look a little bit lethargic. But hopefully they'll perk up when we start adding maybe some more food to this system. So let me just dig in this corner right here. Again, we got some nice large worms here. Some of them look a little darker. This one right here looks a little, doesn't have the normal coloring that I would expect for my African Nightcrawlers. I'm pretty sure it's an African Nightcrawler. But it looks a lot darker than I'm used to. I'm used to a lighter color here, more like, oops, a little bit more like this one right here, which has a little bit more reddish to it. But maybe they're a little bit more brown than I realized. But I thought they had more of a bluish coloring. So, all right, with that, let's go ahead and dig a little bit further over here. See what else we can find in this system as we turn this over. As you know, it's been a while. Actually, I'm seeing a lot of the bedding is gone. We do have a mango seed right here. These take forever to break down, so I'm not surprised we're still finding stuff like this in here. But, yep, there's a mango seed. Nothing in here, but look at that. Look at all the castings. Yeah, there's one worm right there. Again, a little bit more darker in color than I'm used to. They don't really have that blue tint to them that I'm used to seeing. Maybe they're just not quite as mature, or they're a little bit shrunken maybe from lack of moisture. Material looks good. There's no smell or anything to this system either. Yeah, that's one of the things I do check for with these, is I check to see if there's a smell. I'm not really smelling anything, which is a good sign. I always worry about that. When the stuff starts to smell bad, you know something's wrong. Oh, there's another worm right here. And so this is the color I'm more used to, more this sort of lighter color. When I roll them around, they're still the same color. Again, it looks like it's a little bit lethargic, these worms. They might need some more moisture in here. And here's a larger one. This one's a little bit darker in color, but still not as dark as the other ones. Again, these are really, really long worms. So let's just see here. Again, really good casting. The quality of the castings from these worms is great. It's really kind of big chunks. They sort of flake apart very easily. So I'm very impressed always with the castings. All right, so there we go. We've dug through that section. Let's just move over a little bit more. Remember, we're not taking anything out this time. We're just trying to check. Oh, here we go. This is what I want to see right here. These young worms. That's what I really want to see. I want to see that they're in here. I want to see that this population is growing. That's what I really, really want to see in here. And actually, there's another one like right here. There's another young worm right there. That's what I'm really, really looking for. Again, they're a little bit lethargic, it looks like. But I'm hoping that when we add some moisture in here, there's another younger worm, not quite as young as the other ones, but still definitely younger worm. A couple worms in this one right here. A couple younger ones too. So we got this smaller one, we got this larger one, and then another smaller one right over here. So not babies, but at the same time, they're a good indicator of where this system is going, which is hopefully population increases. I'm not seeing any cocoons, though. I was hoping I would maybe see a few cocoons in here. Thought I saw one, but it was just a fleck of something else. But overall, this is looking much better than it has been. Oop, here's a large worm right there. Here we go. These are the monstrosities. Oop, look at this one. This is what I'm used to seeing and how active I'm used to seeing them. But this is a nice, big, healthy worm. Probably with a little bit more moisture in here. Again, it calmed down right away when it went on my glove. But it was wiggling around when I first went to pick it up. And there's another one right over here that's not quite fully developed. But again, to tell the size difference over here, you can really see this size difference between the two. Actually, here we go. Maybe if I pick them both up here. Look at this one. That one's just about the size of my fingers. This one right here, the size of my hand. Actually, now that it curled up, but it can easily reach. Yeah, that's well larger than the other one over here. So just so you can see what the difference is between sizes. We got another mango piece shell over here. These do take a long time to break down. Not too worried about that, but that's, as I said, this is a really good sign for this system. We're seeing lots of worms. No odors or anything like that. All right, let's get this last side right here. Oop, there was a baby worm that I just saw over here that fell underneath all the stuff. Another nice sized worm right there. Here's one right here. So we're seeing a lot of worms in here. This is a great sign. I'm glad to see that this population is rebounding nice and healthily. Another worm right there. I know I sort of move them all together, but that's okay. We can just see that there's a lot of worms actually in this section too. So this is a great sign. I'm seeing actually there's a whole bunch that just fell through my hands. I'm sort of speeding up a little bit since I do have another bin to go through, or tote. And it looks like these guys are really starting to do a good job of going through this material. There's very little cardboard left in here comparatively too. You can see that this is mainly castings now. Now as far as where we're going to put the food, I think last time we fed on this side and then we fed on this side, so I think this time we're going to feed in the middle. Now again, one thing that we are going to do here is, let me just dig this out a little bit. I'm using this mango shell right here. We're just going to dig that out. Now this is getting a little bit low on paper. So one of the things we're going to do here, sorry about my dog barking, is I'm going to grab some dry paper here and we're going to put that in the center here. We're just going to put a little bit of paper in the center. That's going to keep the food off this top section here. And then I've got a container of food. But I'm just going to throw some pieces in. We're not going to load this up with a massive amount like I do for my urban worm bags or anything, but I'm just dripping off some of the water in there. But we're going to put some food in here, some really well-liked food as well. So we're going to add some watermelon, which I know is a favorite of most of my worms. We've got a little bit of celery with another piece of watermelon. We've got, looks like some celery and coffee grounds. Let's just break this apart a little bit. Now the watermelon should have a lot of water in it too. It's like 98% water, I think. So that should be a good variety for them. And then we're going to go ahead and add just a little bit more, another piece of watermelon and a little bit of celery. And then I also have in here, I'm just grabbing random things out of here. I'm not trying to grab specific stuff except for what's on top. And then we got some clementine peels. A few more clementine peels over here as well. And we'll grab one more watermelon rind. That's actually a good feeding for them. Not a whole lot in here, but this is also primarily water. Now, the last thing we're going to add here is we are going to add some of our crushed crab and eggshell. Now remember, you should be wearing a mask when you're doing this. I'm being very careful right now. Not seeing much go up into the air, and I don't have my mask on. But with that, now we're going to go ahead and cover this with a little bit of paper. Why? Because we want to make sure that the worms are not harmed by this food source being so cold, because they're not, these worms really don't like cold stuff. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and press this down a little bit, just kind of mash it in here so we have a little bit extra space. And then what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and cover this up. But the first thing what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a little bit of water to this food source of this paper. This should be able to absorb quite a bit. I didn't wet the paper this time. I probably should have, but I wasn't sure if I was going to need to add paper or not, because I don't think my other system does not need any paper at all. A little bit more here to the center section. There we go. Now what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and cover this up with our material. Now anything like this that comes up to the surface is that mango seed. I am going to bury those down underneath again. So there we go. We're going to cover this up nicely. Make a nice, neat cover here. And they'll start to work on all this stuff that's in this system. Now, last thing we're going to do is I'm going to add some more water just on the edges here, because this stuff was a little bit dry. And oops, didn't mean to touch the stuff in there. But that's all we're going to do for this system. And now we're going to go ahead and close this one back up, and we're going to switch over to our 10-gallon tote. So let me go ahead and put this cover back on. And oh, wait, hold on. Actually, one more thing we need to do here. We're going to go ahead and add our label right here to the center. And we've got to add our little mark, since we did add food to it. That's just to show that we fed. And there we go. There's our update for our tote. Let's switch, or our bin. Yeah, our bin. Let's switch over to our tote. Be right back. All right, here's our 10-gallon tote here. I already put on today's date of 6/29, so there you go. And we're not going to add that red mark until we add some food to this. I'm not sure if we will need to or not. First off, the top looks a little dry. One little spider on there, it looks like. Right there. Actually, a couple spiders in here, but I'm not seeing anything else really. So no worms or anything on the top, obviously. I also didn't see any mites either. Actually, wait, hold on. Right there in that corner, I did see some mites. Hopefully that's focusing. So there are some mites in this bin as well. Maybe at some point we'll work on trying to get rid of the red mites, but I have not really cared to do that. Unless they become really obnoxious, then maybe we will. Although there are some on the top here as well. But I find them to just not be really that big a deal. So you can see I just scraped them off there. Some of them are moving, some of them are not, because I rubbed my fingers together. Just go ahead and kill them all. And with that, let's dig in. I do have a tape mark. Just move this up. I do have a tape mark right here. I can't remember if I added something to the center section here. I might have. This still looks very, very wet. I don't think we're going to need any paper in here or anything like that. Actually, let me just check one thing here while we're here. Let's check the temperature of this one. For some reason, this one seems to always be more moist. And I sometimes wonder if the temperature might be a little bit different. So it's 23 degrees Celsius or 73 degrees Fahrenheit. So the temperature is not too bad. You know, they could take a little bit warmer, but this is actually probably a pretty good temperature for them. You know, these African Nightcrawlers. But let's just see if they're starting to rebound in this system. This system has not done as well as the other system that I have. So we're trying to get them to rebound in here, kind of make a mark and come back here. Oh, there we go. We've got one smaller one right here. That's a good sign. I like seeing these smaller ones. I know that this one's not going to be loaded. We had very few large worms in here the last time we checked. I think it was between 5 and 10 total. So we're not going to have the tremendous amount that we had in the other system, but we hopefully will see some of these younger ones, like this one right here. Look at that, another younger one right in there. So that's a good sign as we work through it. Here's another younger one right here. I don't know if that's the same one. I don't know if he fell out of my hand before, but there's another younger one. We'll start moving him over to this side here. We'll start digging in this center section a little bit here. So again, I'm not seeing any cocoons, but I find they're very hard to find in this type of material. You know, with all these varying colors, when it's a uniform color, they're sometimes easier to see if there's a cocoon in there. So I'm just sort of looking, seeing if we see any worms. And this one probably will not need any food or anything. You know, with this few, without having a good population of worms, I don't want to add too much food. Oh, there's another one that's smaller right there. Right there. So that's a good sign. We're getting some of these, you know, not quite mature worms. There's another one right here. So that's a good sign that we're seeing some of these worms in here that are not mature, but shows that the population can come back. So that's really what I'm looking for, is to have this system just sort of come back from where it was. I don't want to, you know, have to repopulate it again. Is my hope, is that they just kind of repopulate the system naturally. Not many in there. All right, so let's just go in here into the center section. And we might have added something in here. Oh, hold on. Here's our first large worm. Look at this one. So we do have a couple of adults in here that are fully matured. That's a good sign. That means that they can have cocoons. Let's just see here. I wonder if we did add something to the center section. I wonder if I added some neem cake or something. I can't remember. I should have looked back at my last video. Oh, there we go. There's another worm in here. Right here. You can see. Don't know if you can or not, but there's another smaller worm in there. So we're definitely getting some worms in this system as well. Not as many as the other one, but I didn't expect there to be as many in here since we've had some issues with this system. Just hasn't worked out quite as well. There we go. There's another worm right there by my thumb. So we've got a lot of worms at this, I want to say, juvenile stage, which means that we could be ripe for an explosion maybe in about 3 or 4 weeks, I guess. Maybe a little longer. I'm not sure what the how old they are and the maturity time from that point in their life. But they're not quite ready to have cocoons, so we're not going to have an explosion in a week or something like that. It's going to take some time. All right, let's just check over here. I will say there are quite a bit of castings in here, more than I thought. Oh, here's a good one right there. Whoop, just fell out. This is, again, another younger worm. Very active, that one. Or is that a tail that ripped off? I'm not sure. I think that might be a tail, actually, that ripped off from the way it looks. So I think one of them lost its tail. And the reason why I say that, it looks like there's a yellow dot on the top there, so I think I pulled the tail off on that one. So one of them got away and left its tail. Wonder if it's this one right here. There's a couple worms right there. So maybe a little bit more scared in this system. It's the first one I've had that I've seen that where it definitely looks like I pulled off the tail. Oh, here's another, this one, mature worm. Maybe not quite. I don't think this one's quite mature yet. But we're getting there. That's at least closer. So these worms are starting to look a little better. We're starting to get a little bit more of a healthy population mix in here. Here we go. 2 more worms in this hand as well. One right here and one right there. So I'm glad to see that we're seeing some more worms in here, even though they are smaller in size. And I think we will add just maybe a little bit of food in here. I'd like to add something to try to make sure that we continue to get them eating and maybe have a little bit extra heat in here. You know, they can move away from the food if they want, but that way there's something to kind of lure them in all close together. Hopefully get them to grow a little bit more. We've got another worm right there by my thumb. If I can move that material out of the way. Another one right over here as well. Nice little one right there by my thumb right there. Oh, hold on here. We've got a couple large ones right here. There's a large one. That one's a full adult right there. And where's the other one ready to go? Right here. Here we go. And here's another one. This one might, it looks like it's an adult. It's hard to tell on this one. I don't know if it's fully formed or not. I think it is though. Looks like it has damage to it, or maybe it just laid cocoons. I'm not sure, but we're going to put it back. So we are getting some larger ones in here too, which means we should have more cocoons coming, hopefully, especially as they find maybe the food I think we're going to add. I think we are. We think we're going to add some food in here and try to get this maybe heating up a little bit, get a little bit more moisture on that surface. I don't think we need to add any moisture in here, just the moisture will evaporate with the heat from the food. But overall, this is looking pretty good. I'm very happy to say it looks like it's starting to come back here a little bit. I think we're just going to add food to the center section though. I will add, just as I did on the other side. Right, hopefully that picked up. My camera just overheated there for a second, but we're digging a hole here to put in a little bit of food. We're going to make this quick because it might start overheating again. We're going to go ahead and add in just a little bit of our paper over here, and then we're going to grab some food just as we did for the other one. And I think we will grab some of the watermelon, and then let's just see here if I can get one of these coffee grounds in here. I do find that coffee grounds are a favorite. We're just going to go ahead and peel these apart a little bit. So what I'm doing here is I'm just peeling this off. There we go. So that way the coffee ground's already open and they can get to them. And I think that's really all we're going to add for this. We're not going to add a whole lot to this one. I don't want to overwhelm them with food since there's not a whole lot in here. And we're going to add some more paper on the top here. I'm not going to add any of the crushed crab and eggshell. I do see a lot of white spots all over the other stuff. We're not adding anything that's going to be too acidic. So with that, we're just going to go ahead and cover this up really well. I'm not going to add any water either. I don't think it's going to need it. I'm hoping that the moisture in here will be enough. You know, because this does feel quite moist. We'll leave that label right here in the center saying that we fed in the center section. And that's going to be it for this system. So what we're going to do now, I'm going to put the cover back on, just like so. And then we are going to need to mark this because we did feed it with a little line, just like that. And there we go. So we are good to go. We're going to put this system back on the shelf as well. And we'll try to probably maybe a little over a week we'll come back to these. I don't want to update them too often because I really like the worms, I feel, do a little bit better when I'm not checking on them all the time. And that way it has a little bit more time to recover and work through that food. So hopefully in a week and a half or so we'll come back and check on this system. All right, with that, thank you for watching. Again, remember, I do have Amazon links down below if you're looking to purchase some of the stuff you see in my videos, and it does help me out a little bit. So if you don't mind, click on those links and make some purchases, and I'll receive a little bit more. I can invest in my composting systems here to show you on air. So with that, thank you again for watching.